everybody, it's me, Tess, with Tess Loves Yarn. And you guys, I'm here to talk about something that I think we all experience once in a while, and that is losing your Crojo and how to get it back. So today, I'm going to share a really good idea for helping to get your Crojo back. Okay? Now, for a lot of people, when you lose your Crojo, you just really don't want to work on any crochet project, right? You're just kind of, and I think that it's a thing that we all experience at one time or another. And when you do experience that, it's important, I think, not to take too long of a break. Because what happens if you break for too long, you never get back to it. Your hooks collect dust, your yarn collects dust, and you move on to something else, right? So there's nothing wrong about taking a short break from crochet, especially if you have a lot going on in your life. Although I do have to point out that research has shown that knitting and crocheting helps relieve stress. And you guys, I have been under a lot of stress lately, and I can absolutely verify that crocheting and knitting helps me lower my stress, especially when I'm doing quick, simple little projects. So, the big tip that I have with getting your Crojo back is to do something that you may not have ever thought of. You may not have ever done this either. It is to start making granny squares. Yes, y'all heard me right. Start making granny squares. Pick out some of your favorite yarns in whatever colors you like. Find a granny square pattern that you really like and start making squares. They are quick, they are easy, and they will give you a sense of accomplishment really quickly. So, what I suggest, if you are a person who needs a pattern, there are books that have granny squares in them. This is a book that I got on Amazon. It was not that expensive. I want to say it was probably $15 or less. I will link it below. But yeah, I want to say it was $15 or less. This has over 100 different granny square patterns, and it's in words and diagrams, which is very helpful because I am a diagram girl. I like my diagrams, you guys. But if you're a word girl, these have words too. They have a regular pattern and then they have a diagram. So you can get a book like this if you're a pattern person, and you can pick and choose what kind of granny squares you want to make. You can make a bunch of different ones. You don't have to make the same exact granny square. You can choose the flower or a more, traditional granny square, or you can choose something totally different, and just start making squares. And the reason I say start making squares, because like I said, they're quick to make and they give you a sense of accomplishment. But also, you can take those squares whenever you have enough of them and you can put them together and make some pretty amazing things with them, which I think would build your excitement up, especially when you started noticing that you had like maybe a little stack of them. Now these are some big granny squares, y'all. These are solid granny squares, and I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds, which is what a traditional granny square is. It's usually 5 rounds. But you don't have to do a 5-round granny square. You can do a 4-round granny square, and you can tell the difference in these squares. See, one is much bigger. You can do baby granny squares. This is a 3-round granny square. And these can still be sewn together to create something amazing just with these little bitty squares. And you guys, you can make this, well, I love making granny squares. I can make this little one in about 5 minutes. You know, I love making granny squares. This is a DK weight square. It's even smaller. It's very delicate, and it would make a great baby sweater, like for a little baby. I mean, you can do so much with granny squares. You can make sweaters, you can make garments, you can make accessories, you can make anything with granny squares. And they will boost your Crojo because you are actually crocheting and making things, and you're able to finish a whole square in a relatively short amount of time. And you look at it and you go, "Ooh, I did that. I made that." And that is empowering. You know, it makes you want to keep going. Here's some other ones. Here's some flowered granny squares that I've made. And I've made them in different colors and just, you know, kind of experimenting with some different ones that I have. I actually love doing this because when I put them together, I want to make different things with them. You guys, here's my project bag I made with granny squares. These are a 4-round granny square. I wound up using 12 for the body and 4 for the handle. This is a Japanese style project bag that I made, and I actually do have a tutorial for this somewhere down in my videos, and if I remember, I'll link it for you so that you can make this project bag as well. Let's see, what else? I just want to show you that, you know, there are so many things that you can do with granny squares. Oh, here it is. So what I have here are some really good items to show you that are using granny squares. And these things are all things that you can actually make, and they are using granny squares. I mean, it's amazing. Okay, so this right here, granny square headband right there, and it's gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. And you guys, that is so simple because that only takes about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 granny squares. And they're little granny squares. They're only 3 rounds because it's a headband. So I'm going to zoom in on that. That's a 3-round granny square. Okay. And that granny square does have a nice little edging on it that was put on after the square was made, but you don't have to put that edging on if you don't want to. It's totally up to you because it's your project. Okay, here is another big surprise. I bet you never thought you could do this with a granny square. Granny square earrings. Now these are made with like a finger weight yarn, and they're very small. They're like you could do 3 rounds and make granny square earrings. Now you guys don't have to put them in the frame that they're in. These are in a metal frame. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is dip them in starch when you're finished. Let them dry and they will harden up and be perfectly fine. You can put them on your hooks and voila, you have some granny square earrings. Beautiful, beautiful, right? How fun would that be? And how quick of a project would that be, right? Now this one is a little more ambitious because it is a bigger project. This is a granny square maxi cardigan. So it goes all the way down past the knee, but it is made of granny squares, you guys. And you can definitely make that. You can make the granny square purse. Now this granny square purse is made of 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe 4 granny squares. And that's a regular 5 round granny square. You can make a granny square pillow. There you go. Granny square pillow. You can make, I love this one, you guys. I mean, how innovative is this? Granny square shorts. Look at that. You could make a top to go with it. Yeah. I mean, you guys, and these are easy peasy. I mean, all you'd have to do is sit down with your squares and just start laying them out into the shape you want, and boomo bango, you sew them together and you've got your item. It's done. Look at this. Granny square bandana or kerchief, however you want to say that. These are very popular at markets right now. People buy these up all the time. All the time. Here's a granny square poncho. Something more traditional. A granny square poncho. And you guys, all of these things are so in style right now, as you can very much tell by all the hype Taylor Swift got wearing her crocheted dress. Now her dress is made using a double crochet cluster, and it is a granny square stitch. That is a granny square stitch. And just to let you know, I'm making that dress, and here it is. Here is my Taylor Swift dress. This is the back panel right here. This is where the shoulder will go, and then this is the neck. And keep in mind, this is the back of the dress. Now the front of the dress has more shaping for the neckline than the back. So this is it right here, and I am working on it, pretty much working on it every day, doing at least a few rows to try to get this done so that I can show you all, right? Okay, let me show you another item that would be great to make. A granny square hat. And yeah, that's all made of granny squares right there. Here is a very similar tank top that I made for my son's girlfriend. It's similar, but not the same. So I made hers out of squares like this that I made. This is a totally different design. I wanted mine to be a solid granny square so that you couldn't see through it. Yeah. Which I think is important if you're a woman wearing a top. You really don't want a see-through one, right? Here is another tank top, just a different style. And once again, the granny squares used on this was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. 20 on that tank top. Mine used much less. The one I made, I think I used maybe 12. 12 granny squares altogether. Here is a granny square sweater right there. And as you can tell, these don't use a whole lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the body, which means 12 for the back as well. So that's 24 squares. And then however long you want to make your sleeves. So you guys, these are the kind of projects you really need to get your Crojo back, because you can sit and complete that square and build up your little stack of squares until you have enough to make something. And you can start making things with just 2 squares. Believe it or not, you can. So it's a very good way to get your love of crochet back in your life and kickstart your Crojo. You know what I'm saying? I love making all things granny square. Here is a really beautiful sweater. Look at that. Beautiful. No, that's a cardigan, not a sweater. Cardigan, everybody. Beautiful cardigan. Then we have a beautiful dress, and these are made with granny squares. They're made with different size granny squares, but they were just put together and sewn together, and voila, a dress. Okay, very easy to do. This I absolutely love, you guys. Look at this granny square blanket. Look at that. It's just all different kinds of granny squares. So see, you don't get bored with granny squares, especially if you're doing a project where you're making all different kinds of granny squares, because you're doing something different every time. If you want to make something like this. If you don't, that's fine too. You know, get into that groove where you know how to make that square and you're making them and completing them in a short amount of time. You know, it's totally up to you. This I love. It is a market bag, a granny square market bag. Amazing. Here we have a granny square bag, just a regular purse, granny square purse, which is awesome, right? I mean, you guys, the sky is the limit when you're using granny squares. I have tons and tons of granny squares, and one of these days I will be putting mine together. See how I have just tons of them. I have them in all different colors. Yeah, all different colors, all different styles. And these would be very easy to all sew together and make a blanket out of, or anything else that I want to do. So lots of beautiful ones. And just to let you know, I love making granny squares out of cotton, because the way I look at it, if you make your granny squares out of cotton, your possibilities for creating clothing or other items like blankets, clothing, things like that is a lot bigger because cotton is a very good type of fabric to wear. You can wear it in the summer or spring, autumn, fall, anytime, all year round. Cotton is a good thing to wear. So I recommend that you get some good cotton. I love Joann's K&C cotton. I also love Hobby Lobby's. I love this cotton. It comes in a ton of different colors, so you can pick and choose what colors you want. Plus, it also comes in the variegated colors. And when I say variegated, I mean colors like this. See the different ones, the self striping, variegated, all different, right? So yeah, I love that. I also love the peaches and cream stripy cotton that you can get from Walmart, and it is, whoo, jumping out of my hand. It is a self-striping yarn, and it's very soft and nice to work with. It is not like the regular peaches and cream cotton. I mean, that I would only use for like kitchen textile. The stripy version of peaches and cream cotton is very soft and flexible. It's very drapey. I love it. You can make any kind of clothing out of that. Yeah, it's really awesome. So you guys, that is what I am recommending today. I am recommending that you grab some of your favorite yarn and just sit down and start making some granny squares. Now let me tell you, if you're not familiar with how to make granny squares, don't even worry about it, because there are 1,000 tutorials on YouTube. Just go into your little search engine and put in there granny squares, crocheted granny squares, or crocheted sunflower granny square, or crocheted flower granny square. I mean, you guys will be shocked at how many tutorials pop up that will take you step by step all the way through making a granny square. Okay, so that is my top recommendation for getting your Crojo back on track. All right, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you try making some granny squares, because you would be surprised. You will absolutely be surprised at how fun it is and how many different things you can make with granny squares. All right, everybody, I hope you're having a great day today. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. You know I appreciate your loyalty, and I am very grateful for you. If you are new to my channel, I would be absolutely tickled pink if you would smash that subscribe button and be a member of my little YouTube family here. So with that all said, y'all know what's next. Be kind and be safe out there in the world, no matter where you are. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, everybody.